right, let's give that a shot.
Yeah, you're sounding good. I can hear you.
Hey, lovely. Likewise. Hey, Dracula, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, doing not so bad. Suffering a little bit under the heat. So, yeah, summer is finally here and it is not as great as imagined.
Yeah, yeah, dealing with the same thing here. So I'm on the tail end of it. So we're almost here on the east coast of the U.S. We're almost done with summer. We got about a month left, so it's starting to cool off a little.
Right, yeah. Nostalgia will kick in as soon as the days are getting colder and then we will want it back usually.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So we have collected some questions and yeah, I think we are at the 18 o'clock mark. Yep, the Discord notification just went out. So yeah, let me get the introduction behind us. So hang on, let me just turn off my computer sound. No more Discord notifications. And all right, here we go, basically. Cut for the editor. Welcome everybody here to Buildsphere number 13. We are joined by Dracula Presley, good friend of the show here today. And the Buildsphere format is really aimed at showcasing the protocols that are populating the IOTA EVM. If you guys have any questions, if you guys want to learn more, if you want to engage with the projects, Buildsphere is exactly here for that. And towards the end here of our session, we are going to have the opportunity for everybody to raise their hand. You can get on stage. You can throw your question at Dracula. And also, if you're having a project that you own, that you know, that you want to see featured here on Buildsphere, under each original tweet of the announcement, you will find a Google form. Very short, promised. And that is how you apply. And yeah, we're always happy to receive more applications. Cool. Yeah, admin stuff out of the way. So Dracula, for the people that don't know you yet, let's start out with a quick introduction of the role that you play at Figment and a little bit about yourself. Let me just add that I'm your host, Jonathan, and now the stage is yours.
Sure. Yeah, so Figment was actually something that I've been kind of cooking up for almost a couple years now. Um, just for people that don't know me, I've been involved with IOTA I've held IOTA for probably as long as a lot of you have, but started getting involved in terms of building with Shimmer, teamed up with Nakama to work on Accumulator, and even on Shimmer we had started to have these discussions about, you know, we're going to need an ecosystem NFT marketplace. So we had started discussing this, yeah, like as far back as when we started working on Accumulator, and it seemed like a good time to, start developing this for IOTA EVM once we knew that was a lot, it was closer on the horizon. So in terms of my background, I have been developing in Web3 for about 4 or 5 years now. Started on good old BSC way back in the DGen days. Moved over to Phantom as my sole focus last run. So even during the last run, there was people already talking about, that, hey, IOTA, they're working on a chain where there could be like DeFi and NFTs and all that stuff. So I was, of course, like, hey, I'm in. So that's mostly my background. Just got involved. I was a trader for years before I started finally building stuff. And yeah, once I started building stuff, though, it was hard to go back to just trading. So it's just a lot of fun to develop projects. So yeah, we've just there's a lot behind Figment besides it just being a marketplace. And yeah, we're looking forward to getting this beast launched. We're hoping we're at a point now where back end is getting pretty settled. UI is still getting tweaked, but it's about done. So it's getting a lot more exciting now that we're getting closer to, finally being able to put this thing out in the wild.
Awesome. Yeah, let's discover a little bit more about Figment later on. You already have been touching upon being in the IOTA community for a long time. You're also a builder. I'd be interested to learn, why have you decided to build an NFT marketplace? Could have been anything else. You went for the NFT marketplace. Maybe you can talk a little bit about your rationale here.
Sure. It was interesting to watch Shimmer develop, with some of these early DeFi protocols. But I really had my eye on NFTs, because anyone that knows IOTA's history, in a lot of ways, I would say NFTs caught on a lot more than DeFi did, at least starting out. So on Shimmer, luckily we had, Magic C's NFT marketplace. It was kind of like a rudimentary market, just your basic functions and everything, and it got us through. But we knew that, you know, looking further down the road, every big ecosystem has that like flagship NFT marketplace. And that's what I was hoping to deliver with Figment. So, when you have a developed ecosystem, you have all these like staples. And, like I was mentioning before, it's just that, IOTA EVM is going to need one. And looking at the history of IOTA, there's already a ton of, there's well-known, well-developed, big NFT projects that have a lot of backers and a lot of supporters, and they're going to need a place as well.
Yeah, sound argument. Obviously, a NFT marketplace is a cornerstone for every EVM, I would say. So very excited to see what Figment is building here. Let's talk about that for a little bit. So while everything is still under development, maybe you can talk us through the BizDev efforts a little bit. Like, how does that look like? And primarily, what is the benefit for creators if they decide to launch on Figment?
Yeah, so also just coming from a heavy NFT background, I helped develop a lot of NFT projects last run. Was involved with a lot of platforms, a lot of artists, a lot of creators. Um, so BizDev, we're kind of just now starting, getting started on that, since we've been in development for so long, that we're just now kind of like, all right, now that we're maybe a month or two away from launching, we can start, reaching out to creators and artists. So that's the main thing right now, is that to have a successful NFT market on a chain, that's kind of the first thing you need to do. You need to get familiar with the creators. You need to meet them. You need to talk to them. You need to see what their needs are. Um, you need to find out, what their plans are, what their roadmaps are. So we've just kind of opened up the Discord, for anyone that's, a creator or an artist. We're about to start, having calls and meetings with a lot of projects. So yeah, I mean, to me, that's really important that you you get ingrained with that part of the community, because you need to work together, right? Um, you need to work together to make it a successful project. I mean, because I've seen NFT marketplaces, especially when like a market kind of forks. Um, a good example is Hyperspace. They started on Solana, they forked to Avalanche, and their stint on Avalanche was successful because they had some um, incentives from the Avalanche Foundation. But when those incentives kind of dried up, the market just instantly, the marketplace just, immediately, the volume dropped, everything. And I think it's because you just can't drop cold into an ecosystem. You really have, for NFTs especially, DeFi, you can maybe show up and you're offering an interesting product, and people will still check it out even if they're not super familiar with the team or what they're doing. But with NFTs, it's like community is just essential. And yeah, you need to be on the ground, communicating with these people and working with them.
Yeah, that sounds indeed like an advantage that you're having here, just being so much ingrained with the community. Yeah, also seeing that you have basically dabbled in NFTs for so many, well, years now. I'd be curious to learn, like, where do you see the major USPs for Figment? How do you want to do better than the competitors out there?
Well, I think what we're entering in this run, and this is just me speculating, but from what I've noticed, last run, um, you could, it was basically like you could just offer the service and it was enough, right? Um, just someone having a place to do these things was enough. But I feel like this run, what we're going to see a lot more of is the user experience is going to become very important because now, hey, anybody can fork an NFT market. Anybody can, you know, fork a DeFi farm. That's light work. So I think what we're going to see a shift to is a lot more emphasis put on the user experience. How easy is it to do what you're trying to do? How intuitive is it to, hey, I'm trying to sell an NFT. Am I having to like dig all over the site, figure this out? People nowadays, if you're, if you're like a power user in Web3, then you probably have these things that you're doing every single day, right? You're probably checking your farm over here. You're checking your loan health over here. Um, you know, it needs to be a clean interface that's easy to use. People can get in and out if they want to. So to me, that is a huge focus. For instance, when we started building it, we're trimming a lot of fat off of kind of like traditional marketplaces. And that doesn't mean like, oh, it's lacking features, but more so just like, what is it that someone can get in and do what they're trying to do fast? So yeah, I think that I keep saying runs, but I mean like just in general where the market is evolving, I just think that user experience is just going to be really important. And that's something we're putting a huge emphasis on. Oh, I'm sorry, did I lose you there?
Good run with Twitter. Ah, Dracula, you're about to come back. Some white noise is coming through,
Oh, okay. Let's see here.
and you're back. Perfect.
Okay. Well, hopefully people didn't lose everything I was saying, but you know how it goes with spaces. It's really really buggy. But just a too long to read summary is that the emphasis is just going to be on the back end stuff, the contracts, the mechanics. Anybody can kind of make that happen, but the emphasis is just going to be on the user experience and making something that's like efficient and easy to use, and also something that just aesthetically looks nice as well.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, that is giving me some good insight in your building philosophy here. So yeah, sounds good to my ears. Let's talk a little bit about how to get an NFT on Figment. How does it work? Is there going to be a verification process? Is it going to be permissionless, or what is the process here?
Well, it's permissionless to an extent, and when I say that, it's that sometimes you go to an NFT marketplace and it can be kind of aggravating that you're like, hey, I can't, see everything in my wallet. I can't interact with everything I want to interact with. So you have to kind of find a balance that makes sense where, you know, in our case, people will be able to see anything that's in their wallet, interact with anything they want to. But to have a collection that's kind of like very like visible in the marketplace, and people are able to, buy, sell, make offers, all that stuff. There is like a small verification process. It's not intense. It is automated to an extent. So it's basically just, it's a short, it's a short form to fill out. There is like a small listing fee. This is also just to kind of weed out spam and that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, it's kind of a mix. It's like I said, it's like I want people to be able to see everything that they own, be able to interact with stuff. But at the same time, like I said, you have to find that balance of it making sense of like what's going to be prominent in the marketplace, right? So yeah, there will be like a small process to go through, but I promise it's not very painful. Um, this is also not by any means to be like a tool to control like, oh, like what's, in and out of the marketplace. Um, as long as everything, meets like the very basic standard of what you would want from an NFT project, they'll be listed. So yeah, it's there will be a process, but like I said, it'll be pretty painless.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense. I mean, if there wasn't a fee, what is really keeping me from dishing out a few NFT collections with an AI image generator and just throw them all on Figment and see what sticks? Certainly that is not a favorable outcome. So, yeah, having some small, barrier of entry, I think that is very plausible in this case. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is also just from my experience with seeing different marketplaces try different things. There have been marketplaces in the past that has kind of been their whole deal, where it's like, you know, it's all permissionless, no matter what. You can list anything you want at any time. And what you just mentioned is exactly the outcome. Is, it's basically the marketplace is you can barely even find something you're trying to buy or get to because it's just spammed to death. So like I said, it's finding that balance of, I know it's on the flip side of the token equally as annoying to go to a marketplace where you're just trying to look at what's in your wallet, and you're like, oh, well, I can only see like the three collections I have that are listed in the market. So we didn't want that to happen either. So yeah, balance is key. So trying to offer the best of both worlds there.
Yeah, sounds very fair. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely models out there that are a little bit competing. So yeah, just picking and choosing what you think works best. I think that is a sound strategy. Yeah, excited to see how that plays out. Let's go to a topic that is probably on the mind of a lot of people in the IOTA community, and that is Sooniverse closing shop, essentially, which has left a lot of collections basically stranded. So, yeah, is Figment offering any kind of, well, let's call it support for these collections? Are there any plans in this direction?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have been discussing with some people how we can help get their collection on Figment. There's different situations for different teams and projects. And some people, most people, obviously would like to just say, hey, I'm just going to migrate my collection over to IOTA EVM. And that's probably the easiest thing for a lot of these projects. And when I say migrate, I mean like you probably want to like redeploy, drop your holders, all that stuff. So yeah, if there's anyone listening today that has a project and we haven't chatted yet, definitely feel free to drop us a line. We're going to do everything we can to help those projects be up on Figment. So kind of the same thing as talking about the verification process. I think that, you know, to just offer something that's like automated to where anyone can do anything at any time, I don't think that's ideal. But I think that also sort of helps to show that, oh, okay, well, there's teams that would like to, get redeployed. They want to, work on their project still. So yeah, we are definitely helping any way we can. And yeah, if there's a project someone likes to see, or any creators in here that are being affected by that, definitely reach out because we want as many of those collections as we can to come over with us.
Yeah, awesome. Love hearing that. Sounds good. So definitely it's not all over for the Zooniverse collections, but yeah, Figment extending a olive branch, essentially. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the royalties and what your ideas are in this regard. So just to give a little bit of pretext, when creators are putting their NFT collections on a marketplace, usually they have the option to install a royalty fee. So whenever an NFT gets traded, the creator is getting a share of that. Now, some marketplaces have overridden this feature entirely, so the creators did not end up with getting the royalties they asked for, essentially. So I'm kind of wondering where Figment is standing here on this point. Will the creators be able to set that up? And yeah, just walk us through your philosophy a little bit here, please.
Oh, well, I'm really glad you asked that question, because that has been popping up a little bit already. And same as, you're probably seeing the trend here, in terms of what I've been discussing, where there's just a lot of different ways that people handle this. Some have been successful, some have not been successful. So looking at that same knowledge, you know, not just studying other markets, but this is for me probably more of a philosophical thing, that I believe that creators should set their royalties to what they feel they should be. I think that those fees should be honored by marketplaces. And, you've seen like OpenSea, Magic Eden, they've both experimented with, kind of making it like an option. It's like a tip or something. And I personally just don't feel that that is the way to do it. Um, where this argument comes from a lot is also buyers and sellers, which I understand. A buyer, well, more so sellers, honestly. A seller might say, hey, I bought this NFT, it's mine. Why do I have to pay another, like lose another 5-10% to go to the creators? They've already had a mint, they've already raised money. Well, NFTs don't work quite the same as DeFi projects. You don't have this constant stream of fees, or, however you're, earning money with your product. So to me, creators and projects, they rely a lot of the time on those secondary royalty fees to, keep their projects moving. And I just, yeah, like I said, it's kind of a philosophical thing for me, really. I don't feel that marketplaces should be making that decision. I think that I think it should be up to the buyer. The buyer should get familiar with a project. The buyer should say, I'm comfortable with that being the royalties or not. So yeah, we will be adhering to what creators set their royalty fee to be. So like I said, it is kind of a hotly debated topic in the NFT world, but that's how we feel about it, and that's how we're going to handle it. Is that, yeah, it'll be what the creators put in their contracts as royalties. That's what we will be adhering to.
Yeah, sounds fair. I mean, nobody really likes paying a markup. If people had the choice, they would probably rather buy an NFT for cheaper. But yeah, if you really think it through, of course, it brings up the question, why should a creator keep on supporting a collection if he is basically cut off the revenue stream? So yeah, I rather tend to think that the royalties are indeed fair, should be honored, and are probably the safest way to make sure that a collection is not getting abandoned, is getting, is getting supported. So I definitely think that you're taking a good path here. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about other products that you might have been thinking up. Is there any features, any other products that are going to spin out of Figment eventually? It's a little bit of future music, of course, but maybe you can touch upon some rough ideas already.
Sure. The first focus, of course, has just been building out the actual marketplace, because we feel that, that is most important in terms of, we need that to roll out as soon as possible for the eco. But the first thing on the list will be, and I've been asked this a lot, and that's why I want to touch on this. The first kind of like thing to focus on after the market rolls out is we're developing tools to help people launch their own NFT collections. So in a way, there will be two launch pads. we will have a launch pad that's a little more like curated, that we work with projects on extensively, marketing, all that kind of stuff. But then there will also be tools for, hey, if somebody has their own artwork, they want to release a collection, it will give them the tools to do this, with no code, make it easier for them. So really excited about that. That's in early stages of development. As like I said, the marketplace is the focus right now. But yeah, there will be, like I said, a curated launch pad, but then also, um, we're developing an extensive set of tools so that, anyone can launch an NFT project if they, like I said, if they have the art. A lot of times, people want to do stuff like this, but they don't have access to a, smart contract developer, a front end web developer. There's a lot of things you need for a successful project. So, really excited about that. And yeah, those will be coming sooner than later after launch.
Yeah, sounds great. I mean, I'm a big fan of no-code tools, so very excited to see how that is going to play out. Maybe it will happen that you get my AI-generated NFT collection on there. Just to give you a fair warning here. Um, I think another question that is inevitable at this stage is to ask you whether you are planning to launch a token as well. Yeah, any ideas already in this direction?
Yeah, so there will be essentially like a reward system. Um, a lot of projects I've studied that, I think it's been interesting what they've done. Projects like Blur, who is on Ethereum and now Blast, um, you know, they developed these campaigns to reward activity. And, it is also a balancing act. Like I said, talking about hyperspace earlier, it was kind of like, oh, when the rewards dried up, then everyone just immediately left. Um, so trying to develop a token system that, just rewards people for using the platform. Um, that also, it draws fees to create liquidity for the token. Just mapping out some tokenomics that makes sense to where the token does still have like some intrinsic value on top of, when you're constantly rewarding people. So that'll be separated into like what I'm calling seasons. So it'll be kind of like, all right, season one is between these dates. People can, go off to the races. So that is in development as well. Also will be coming sooner than later. Um, so that, we've been working on hashing out tokenomics on that and how, the token will kind of work with the marketplace itself. How does the token get funding, get liquidity, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, there will be a token system.
Yeah, interesting. I've been watching, for example, the Blur marketplace also emerge, and so I'll be very interested to see how you handle this. I mean, fair to say probably that Blur has been doing rather well with some shortcomings in the tokenomics. That's how I would view it. So yeah, very exciting to see how you take all these learnings and put them into Figment. Um, awesome. We are getting close here to the 30-minute mark now. So if anybody here in the audience has a question, then please raise your hand and we'll get you on stage. And while that invitation is lingering, yeah, Dracula, you can talk us through where to find out more about Figment and where's the best place for creators to get in touch with you.
Sure. So, right now on X, I'm sure we're linked up here, but, Figment underscore NFTs for updates on X. If you hop over there, you'll also get a link to our Discord. Right now, we are just kind of saying, hey, come into the Discord, ask some questions. That's probably the best way to communicate. But you can also reach out to me directly. I'm Dracula Presley pretty much on everything. So on Telegram, on Discord, just at Dracula Presley. So yeah, that's how we're handling it right now. We have a creators area in the Discord. So if you come in and request the tag, we'll give you a role and you can, start talking with us, with other creators. So, yeah, it's early stages of building this community up, but we're already really excited about it. So, yeah, if you have any interest at all, whether you're a creator, whether you're just, someone that enjoys NFTs, definitely hop in there and chat with us.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to that. Dracula, very pleasant guy to reach out to. So yeah, if you guys want to, then please go ahead. I can attest to Dracula being very nice also in DMs. Yeah, so we do not have any raised hands. So concise answers. So yeah, I think that just leaves me with thanking the audience. Thanks everybody for showing up, and of course, Dracula, been a pleasure once again. I have to add that this episode of Buildsphere, like any other, is for informational purposes only. And yeah, with that, any closing thoughts? Anything you want to leave us with, Dracula?
No, that's about it. We're still, we're probably about 75% through the building process. So looking forward to getting this thing live on IOTA EVM. And thanks to everybody for taking the time to listen. And also, anyone that also uses Accumulator, we appreciate that greatly. We just launched new vaults for IOTA EVM, started this week. So, yeah, it's still early for IOTA EVM, but there's a lot of things in the pipeline, a lot of projects building, coming soon. So there's a lot to look forward to. So, yeah, just want to say thanks again, everyone, and hopefully I will see everyone around.
Lovely closing statement there, sir. Nothing to add. And yeah, have a great rest of the day, everyone, and hopefully see you around next week for Buildsphere coming up with Magic C. So mark your calendars for that. And yeah, thanks for all the emojis flaring up. Love to see it, and catch you on Discord. Have a great day. Bye bye.